So you know you want to make an impact on your community or your country or the whole world, and maybe you've even thought about starting a nonprofit, but you're not quite sure that that's the right path for you. The truth is, there's no single way to change the world, and starting a nonprofit is not the best path for every person. Fortunately, there are plenty of alternatives to starting a nonprofit too. So in this video, I'm going to share 7 of those alternatives, as well as the pros and cons of each of those alternatives. Welcome to my channel. My name is Amber Melanie Smith, and ironically, I am a nonprofit founder and executive director who makes these videos here on YouTube all about creating a change in the world, starting a nonprofit and all of the different strategies around that, and generally how to make a difference, because we really need a lot more of people who want to make a difference in the world right now. I really hope that you find this video useful. Don't forget to check out the rest of the videos on my channel and like this video and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell to get alerts for the next time I post another one. Okay, so disclaimer, because I mentioned this just a little bit ago, but I am actually speaking from the perspective of someone who did take the route of starting a nonprofit organization, and it's actually my full-time career now. I run the organization that I started a long time ago. But starting a nonprofit was not necessarily always the plan for me. I did a lot of other things to try to make an impact on my community before that, from volunteering to activism to starting different projects and being part of other groups, etc. I studied social enterprise organizations. I studied careers in international relations and social work, and really just trying to figure out what is the path for me where I can make a difference and be the most effective. So like I said, there's no one-size-fits-all solution or way to make a difference in the world. And if you're thinking of starting a nonprofit, you really want to make sure that it's the right path for you, because you might spend years of your time and even some, or for some people, lots of your money in order to get a new nonprofit off the ground. So here we go. Here are 7 alternative ways you could be a change maker that don't involve starting a nonprofit organization. The first one I'm going to talk about is really fascinating to me, and it's called earning to give. This is a concept that is talked about frequently in the effective altruism community. If you are a part of that, or if you've heard of that, you're probably familiar with this concept. But the idea is that you are going to use your skills best by getting a very high-paying job and then putting aside a good chunk of the money that you earn to donate to causes that you care about, and basically be a philanthropist. The concept behind effective altruism as a community and a philosophy is super interesting. The idea is that they study almost formulaically the most effective ways to change the world by identifying the top problems in the world that are also getting the least amount of attention, and then on the individual side, making sure that each person identifies the strengths that they're going to be able to bring to the table to make the most effective difference in the world, even if that means working on getting a high-paying job and then giving away some of that money. Maybe that's the most effective way for you. So really interesting. Check that out if that's something you might be interested in. So the pros, you'll be making lots of money. And the con is pretty obvious, I think, and that is that if you go this route, then you are not going to be the person who's directly working with the cause you care about or directly serving the people you want to help in a hands-on way, but you're going to be helping them in other ways instead. Okay, so the second alternative to starting a nonprofit is starting a business or a social enterprise organization. Nonprofits are not the only organizations that can make a big impact on the world. Done right, businesses can do that as well. There are plenty of examples of companies out there who exist not just to make a profit, but also to make a change in their communities. There are dentists and doctors' offices who only charge patients the amount that they can afford, so that's an example. There's like Newman's Own salad dressing that gives away all of their net profits to charity. Lots of ways you can make an impact through a business structure. The major pro of doing this is that sometimes, unlike in the nonprofit world where you're not sure how you're going to raise enough money to survive, in the business structure you might have a more clear sense of what reliable revenue you'll be having coming in, because it's a business. And the cons are, of course, you won't get the tax benefits of having nonprofit status. The third alternative to starting a nonprofit is to volunteer for a cause that you care about. And even volunteering itself can take many different forms. You can be an activist or a hands-on volunteer, doing things like direct service, serving meals, building things, etc. You can donate your special talents and skills, like volunteering your time as a musician or other cool things. One of the major pros of volunteering is that you can spend as much or as little time as you have without necessarily making a multi-year commitment like perhaps starting a nonprofit would require of you. Trying out lots of different causes and seeing where you can find your best fit. And the cons is not everyone can afford, of course, to give away their time for free as a volunteer, and so you might not be able to spend as much time as perhaps you would like on your change-making activities. The fourth alternative to starting a nonprofit is to join another nonprofit's board of directors. Of course, this is another form of unpaid volunteering. However, it's pretty unique, so I felt the need to mention it separately. When you serve on the board of a nonprofit organization, you are a leader of that organization. You have voting power to help develop and set policy for the organization, vote on and approve the organization's annual budget, and really help set the direction and future success of that organization. So if you enjoy being in a leadership position and have the time and the skill sets to dedicate to being on a board, there are so many nonprofits out there who really need great board members right now and kind of always. The pro of serving on a board is that you can make, like I said, a really deep, meaningful impact on an organization that you care about. And the con is that being on a board can be a lot of work sometimes and often is a long-term commitment. The fifth alternative to starting a nonprofit is to start and complete a single community impact project. You can still make an impact on your community without going through all the paperwork and challenges and long-term commitment of starting a nonprofit by just focusing on one single project that benefits the community. Examples when I'm talking about a single project might include launching a fundraising campaign for a cause that you care about. It could be organizing a big community or neighborhood cleanup. It could be organizing a feeding campaign to get food to hungry neighbors, but it's just one project. It's not a whole organization with all the infrastructure required of an organization. And if you want to be able to benefit from the tax deductibility of donations and some of the infrastructure that a nonprofit can offer, if you do a single project, there is a chance that you might be able to find a partner in an existing nonprofit or a fiscal sponsor in an existing nonprofit who might be willing to work with you to be the umbrella for that project and allow you to utilize that organization's tax-exempt status to do your project. So the pro, its big one, is that you get all of the satisfaction of doing a big project that really helps your community, but without all that long-term hassle and paperwork that is involved in starting a full-on nonprofit organization. And the con is something I mentioned kind of earlier, and that is that if you just operate a single project, perhaps on your own or with friends, that you don't get the legal benefits that a nonprofit could offer, unless, of course, like I said, you can find a partner or a fiscal sponsor. The sixth alternative to starting a nonprofit is to create a giving circle and to pool money with other people to benefit causes that you care about. So this is a big trend in the United States right now. A lot of people want to donate more money, but maybe they're not millionaires, and so they know that they can't give away large chunks of money at a time. So what they do is they do it collectively. They join in with other people, they pool all their money, their smaller donations together to make one larger pool of money, and then they discuss the causes that they care about and perhaps even vote on a cause to give the whole pool of money to, so that they can make a bigger impact through their larger combined donation. The pro is you get to join an awesome, caring group of people who are passionate about causes that you're passionate about too, so you make friends along the way. The cons are, if you're looking for a little bit more of a hands-on or direct service experience, you're not going to get that with giving away money, but if that's not your jam, then this might be a good fit for you. And the seventh and final alternative to starting a nonprofit that I'll talk about today is to work for or get a job with an existing nonprofit organization. There are plenty of nonprofits across the country and around the world who are looking for skilled, qualified people to pay to work for their organizations full time. I'm talking executive director positions, fundraising positions, marketing, sales, accounting, you name it. The pro of working for an existing nonprofit is you get all the fun of working on a mission that you presumably care about without all the fuss of having to start the organization, do all that paperwork yourself to get it off the ground. And the con is, if you're working for another organization, you might not have some of the same influence or creative input as you might if you started your own, but if you have a good leader at the helm of that nonprofit, then they will empower you to use your creativity for good in their organization too. So in conclusion, there are many, many ways to make a difference in the world that don't involve starting a nonprofit. So if you've mulled it over, you've really thought about all of your options, and you really think to yourself, you know what, starting a nonprofit is still the path for me, check out my website. The link is in the description below because I'm going to be launching some online courses and resources for folks starting a nonprofit that are going to focus on not just all of the to-do list and paperwork and all the stuff that you need to do to start a nonprofit, but also to help you start a nonprofit that's going to make a real effective change in the world while growing to become financially sustainable as well. And all of this will be part of my Founder to Full-Time Academy that I just mentioned is coming soon. So keep an eye out. I really hope that you found this helpful and that maybe it made you think a little bit. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it, etc., and ring the bell for alerts when I do my next video. And final thought, I'm on Facebook. I've got a group there called Change the World or Bust. Folks from around the world who perhaps are wanting to start a nonprofit or are trying to make a difference in the world in one of the other ways that I described in this video. We are in there having great conversations. So come check that out if that's something you might be interested in. I hope to see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.